Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. Today is day 7 of official Magic Origin spoilers. We have 11 new cards to take a look at. And before we get started, I quickly wanted to say thank you to all the new subscribers that have joined us over the last couple of weeks. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers, and just very thankful for that. It means a lot that you guys are following the channel, and I'm going to do my best to get this type of information and breaking news out to you as quickly as I possibly can. So having said that, let's jump into the spoilers. The first one is Gideon's Phalanx, and this is a decent card for limited. It costs 2 white, 5 colorless. It's an instant, which I really like, and you put 4 2/2 white soldier creatures with vigilance onto the battlefield. And if you have spell mastery, your creatures that you control get indestructible till end of turn. This is just a fantastic limited card. It's a little pricey for constructed formats, maybe with the exception of Commander. I could see this being a cool card in a Commander tokens deck, especially with that indestructible clause, because it might allow you to get in with your creatures for damage a little sooner than you normally could and be profitable, which is cool. But really, this is going to shine in limited. This is going to be huge if you're able to draft or you open this in your sealed pool. The next card is Aspiring Aeronaut, and this guy costs 4 for a 1/2 flyer. That doesn't sound very exciting, but when he enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So you get 2/3 power toughness with flying on the battlefield for 4 mana. It doesn't sound super exciting, but definitely limited playable. My hope is, we did see one card yesterday that does have a little bit of synergy with this card. I hope there's more cards with synergy with maybe these artifacts or flying Thopter tokens, and then this card is going to make a lot more sense. He's definitely limited playable, but other than that, there's not really a home for him. Next is Disciple of the Ring, and this one's a mythic. It costs 5, 2 blue, 3 colorless, human wizard. You pay 1 colorless mana, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, and then you get to choose one. You can either counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2 more, or it gets +1/+1 till end of turn, or you can tap a creature or untap a creature. So here's my problem with this card. I mean, 3/4 body for 5 is okay, but he doesn't have any sort of evasion unless you count the ability to maybe tap creatures. He's eating instant and sorceries out of your graveyard in a set, in a color especially, that really wants them in there because of spell mastery. So he's kind of a nombo with a lot of cards in this set, and his powers aren't that super exciting to me. I mean, yeah, you can play him for 5, and your opponent might have to slow down casting non-creature spells for a turn or two before they feel safe to do it. Yeah, okay, maybe if he had flash and I could surprise my opponent, that'd be different, but my opponent can play around that first effect. Giving this guy +1/+1 isn't super good since he doesn't have evasion, and being able to Twitter a creature is okay, but at some point, you're going to run out of resources to use all these abilities. So this is a very underwhelming mythic for me. Not really sure. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I just really don't see great use for it. I mean, I would play him in limited as long as I didn't have heavy Spellmaster synergy in my deck, but other than that, I don't really see a use for him. Next is Talent of the Telepath, and this costs 2 blue, 2 colorless. It's a sorcery. So target opponent reveals top 7 cards of his or her library. You may cast an instant or sorcery card from among them without paying the mana cost. Then the player puts the rest of those cards in their graveyard. And if you have spell mastery, you get to pick 2 instant or sorceries and cast those for free instead of the 1. That's pretty cool. So in limited, it could be a nice effect. You might be able to get in there and steal a couple instant sorceries from your opponent, but there's a better chance for it to whiff in limited. That can be a very heavy creature-based strategy. However, you're still milling 7 cards, and maybe you hit a big creature or something that's one of their win conditions. It's not the worst thing in the world. So even if you gamble and lose, it's not like you threw away your turn. So I like this card. I think it's really cool and limited. Now it's going to be even better in formats like, say, Commander, where there's a lot of crazy spells that you might be able to hit with this. And then again, if you're playing maybe against, I don't know, a burn deck, and you sideboard something like this in, and you can maybe snag a couple burn spells and swing the tide. It has interesting implications. So the fact that it costs 2 blue and 2 colorless, probably keep it out of modern. Potentially standard might see it as maybe a sideboard card in certain decks. Limited but more or less Commander is probably where this is going to find its home. Next is Priest of the Bloodright. This guy costs 5, 2 black, 3 colorless for a 2/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 2 life. However, when he enters the battlefield, you get a 5/5 black demon creature token of flying. I really like this card a lot. This is awesome. So you're paying 5 for a 5/5 flyer. That's awesome and economical. And okay, so I'm going to take 2 damage a turn, but he's also a 2/2 creature, and there's either ways to get rid of him. I could maybe find a sack outlet and get rid of him, or I could simply just attack into my opponent, and they have the option of either taking 2 damage every turn with me, or finally blocking him and maybe killing him. And if they have the pressure of the 5/5 flyer in there, eventually they're going to have to do that. So this guy also is even better if you have flicker effects or some sort of bounce effects where you could maybe even get an extra token out of him. This is a really cool card. This is extremely limited playable. This is going to be a bomb in limited. I could see this making the cut in standard in perhaps black-blue control. Maybe a little too expensive for modern. Could be a fun card in Commander too, though. Really, really good card. Next is Abbot of the Carol Keep, and this only costs 2, 1 red, 1 colorless. He's a 2/1. He's got prowess, and when he enters the battlefield, you get to exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card. I really like this quite a bit, and this is a nice card to complement your burn spells in your burn deck. So you get this guy out. He only costs 2. He's a 2/1, so he's a little bit fragile, but he has prowess, so he can get bigger and attack in there for some damage, maybe early on while you're casting a couple cheap burn spells. And then on top of it, you get a little card advantage when he comes into play. So you play him, and maybe you top deck your lightning bolt or something like that. That's pretty cool. Or maybe it's even just a land, but it helps thin out your deck. I really like this guy a lot. I could see him seeing play, definitely in standard version of Burn if it exists. Possibly the modern version of Burn. He's a fine card in limited. He's aggressive. Not quite as good in limited, but still very good if you get a card off of him. Next is Scab Clan Berserker. He costs 2 red and a colorless. He's a human berserker with haste. He's got renown 1. And if he's renowned, if your opponent casts a non-creature spell, he deals 2 damage to that player. So he's not as good as Eidolon. He kind of has a similar effect. He does have haste, which is nice to maybe get across early on in an aggro build, maybe in limited. But other than that, I don't know if this guy's going to be that great for you. Maybe he could be sideboarded into certain matchups, maybe in a burn mirror if you want to get a little bit of life swing. Basically, your opponent's going to deal with him pretty quick, but if you're hitting him for 2, your opponent's not hitting you for 2, and your opponent's taking 2, so it's almost like a 4-point life swing. It's an option, I guess, if there is a standard burn deck out there. Other than that, I don't see a whole lot of play for this guy. Next is Animus Awakening, and I like this card. It's just a crazy ramp card. 1 green and X. You get to reveal the top cards of your library, put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And if you have Spell Mastery, you get to untap those lands that you put out with this card. So that's pretty cool, especially if you have Spell Mastery. You can perhaps ramp into something immediately. And if you're playing green, there's no lack of big creatures that you can ramp into. So I really like this card. I think this is going to really shine in Commander. I think this is an awesome Commander card. I don't really know if we'll see any like standard play unless there happens to be some really cool ramp deck that comes out that would be focused around a card like this. Probably unlikely though. Modern, I don't really think or know of a deck that's looking for something like this at this point. But really cool Commander card. And it's going to give you a little land advantage potentially in a limited game. Like I'd play this in limited for sure. Even if I'm only casting the X for like 2 or 3 and I'm thinning my deck a little bit and getting a bonus land or 2 out of it. Yeah, that's probably going to be worth it for you. Another random thing I noticed, speaking of random, the trend in this set seems to be when you put cards at the bottom of your library, they go on the bottom in random order instead of order of your choice, which is traditionally what they've done. So I don't really know why that is. It seems a little awkward because I guess now you'll have to randomize the cards or shuffle them or something, but I've noticed that on a few cards now. Next is Evolutionary Leap. It's 1 green and a colorless. It's an enchantment. Pay a green, sack a creature, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So there's that random order again. So what is this card doing? This is, I guess, the fixed survival of the fittest. But to me, it's not really that good. I mean, obviously, survival is crazy broken. You don't want survival or natural order or cards like that floating around in your standard or limited environment, probably. But this card, you sack a creature, you get to go to the top of your deck to find a creature, but then it goes in your hand. So what makes the other effect so powerful is those cards go directly into the battlefield. This case, you still have to cast the creature that you got, so you're really just trading for a random creature. And even if your deck is stacked where you know you're going to get something good, you still have to cast it, so it's sort of slow. I don't really see the use for this one. It's too random for limited commander players as well as modern players, and most other players have better options than a card like this out there, so I'm not really sure who this is for. I don't really see it getting a whole lot of play. Next is Gaia's Revenge, and this is actually a reprint from Magic 2011. This is the only time it's been reprinted. It was a mythic rare back then. Now it's been downgraded to the rare slot. He's a limited bomb. He costs 2 green, 5 colorless. He's 8/5. He can't be countered. He's got haste, and he can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources. So he's got a lot of protection. He can get in there fast. Sure, he's expensive, but as we just saw, there's ways to ramp pretty quickly. So he could be a really fine limited guy. I don't know if there's a deck out there in standard that's going to want to play something this expensive and try to rely on ramp. It just doesn't seem economical to me. But yeah, definitely a limited card. And our last card of the day is Despoiler of the Souls, and he's an aggressive creature. It's 2 black. He can't block. He's a 3/1, and if he's in your graveyard, you can pay 2 black to exile 2 other creature cards from your graveyard and return him to the battlefield. So you'll kind of want to get him out early. He's not going to be as good for you in limited. Not that he's a horrible card, but most of the time in limited, you're not playing mono black. So you can't really count on getting this guy out turn 2, which is really where you want to get him out. It's probably going to be more like 3 or 4, so he's not always going to make your limited cut. If there's an aggressive black-red deck or something like that out there in Standard, he could show up in there, but quite honestly, I don't know if he's as strong as some of these other cards that we've seen in the past that kind of recur from the graveyard. You're just going to run out of creatures a little too fast, I'm afraid, with one like this. So, having said that, those are the cards that have been spoiled today, and as long as they keep spoiling cards, we'll keep doing this. So, over the next couple days, every day that we have spoilers, we'll be putting out another video for you, and once the entire set's spoiled, which I'm thinking will either be Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure with the holiday, then we'll go ahead and start our set review and go color by color through the set. So as always, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. If you're still looking for quality Magic the Gathering videos, click on one of these annotations. And if you hadn't had a chance yet to subscribe, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the breaking MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, crazy product openings, or gameplay videos on Heroes and Legends MTG. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.